Before we dive in, a quick but important note. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. I am not a financial advisor, and this presentation does not constitute financial, legal, or career advice. All decisions you make based on this information are your own responsibility. Always conduct your own thorough research and consult with a qualified professional before making any career or financial decisions. The average first-year investment banking analyst in New York City, a 22-year-old fresh out of college, can make over $200,000. Let me say that again. $200,000. That's more than most doctors, more than most lawyers, and it's just the starting point. It's a number that can change your life, your family's life, and your entire future trajectory. And for years, the keys to that kingdom have been guarded, locked away behind the ivy-covered walls of a few elite universities and kept secret by a select few who made it inside. People look at Wall Street like it's an impossible fortress to breach. They think you need a 4.0 from Harvard, a photographic memory for numbers, and a parent who's already a partner at Goldman Sachs. Well, I'm here to tell you that is a lie. The path to becoming an investment banker is not a secret. It's a formula. It's a repeatable step-by-step process. It is a game with very specific rules, and if you learn those rules, you can win. It doesn't matter if you're at a state school in the Midwest or a community college in California. It doesn't matter if your parents are teachers or factory workers. What matters is your hunger, your discipline, and your strategy. And that is exactly what I am giving you today. This isn't just another video with a few generic tips like network more or get good grades. This is the entire playbook. The complete, unvarnished, A to Z blueprint. Over the next hour, we are going to break down the entire journey. From your very first day as a college freshman all the way to you sitting at your desk in a Midtown Manhattan skyscraper, accepting a full-time offer. We will cover the exact courses you need to take, the specific internships you must secure, the precise timeline the banks follow that 99% of students miss, how to build a network from scratch that gets you interviews, and how to walk into those interviews and absolutely dominate the technical questions that scare everyone else away. By the end of this presentation, you will have a clear, actionable roadmap. No more confusion. No more self-doubt. No more wondering how your classmates are landing these incredible jobs. You will have the exact same knowledge that students at the top target schools pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in tuition to get. The only question is, are you willing to do the work? Because let's be brutally honest for a second. This career is not for everyone. The money is astronomical, but it comes at a price. We're talking about 100-hour work weeks. We're talking about canceled plans, missed holidays, and a level of stress that would make most people crumble. This isn't a job. It's a lifestyle, and it demands an almost obsessive level of commitment. Before you even think about your resume or your GPA, you need to make a mindset shift. You have to decide that for the next few years, this goal is your absolute priority. You have to become relentless. You have to become a machine. You have to develop an insane attention to detail, because a single misplaced zero in a spreadsheet can kill $1 billion deal. You have to be resilient, because you will face more rejection in this process than you've ever faced in your life. You'll send out 100 networking emails and get 5 replies. You'll go through 10 interviews and get 9 dings. That's the reality. Most people quit. The ones who make it are the ones who see rejection not as a failure but as data. They learn, they adapt, and they keep moving forward. If you can't stomach that, this isn't for you. But if you're still here, if that challenge excites you, then let's get to work. Let's start at the very beginning. You're 18 years old, stepping onto a college campus. What is the single most important decision you can make? The first major question we have to tackle is the one everyone asks. How much does the name of your university matter? This is the great debate of target schools versus non-target schools. A target school is a university where the big banks, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, actively come to campus to recruit. Think Ivy Leagues like Harvard, Princeton, and Columbia, or other top schools like MIT, Stanford, and NYU. A non-target is, well, basically everywhere else. Let's be real. Going to a target school gives you a massive advantage. The path is paved for you. The banks come to you. You have alumni networks, on-campus interview schedules, and dedicated career services. If you are at a target school, your job is simple. Don't mess it up. You follow the structured path, you hit the benchmarks we're about to discuss, and you will get interviews. But what if you're part of the 95% of students who are not at a target school? Is it impossible? Absolutely not. But your strategy has to be completely different. You are no longer playing a home game. You are the visiting team in a blizzard playing uphill. You have to be a hunter. You have to be scrappy, aggressive, and 10 times more prepared than your target school competition. You won't have banks coming to you, so you have to go to them. Your networking has to be relentless. Your technical skills have to be flawless. You have to build your own path brick by brick. Throughout this guide, I'll be giving you 2 sets of strategies. One for target school students and one for the non-target warriors. The destination is the same, but the journey is different. Okay, so you're on campus. It's your freshman year. This is the launch pad. What you do in these first 2 semesters sets the foundation for everything else. Most freshmen waste this year. They party, they explore, they find themselves. You will not. Your mission is to build the 3 pillars of a future investment banker: grades, activities, and connections. Pillar 1: grades. Your freshman year GPA is the single most important academic metric of your life. Why? Because it's the first thing recruiters see. When you apply for critical sophomore and junior year internships, your freshman GPA is often the only one you have. A bad start here is like starting a marathon with a sprained ankle. It is incredibly difficult to recover from. Banks use GPA as an initial screening tool. They get thousands of applications for a few dozen spots. An easy way to cut that pile down? Set a GPA cutoff, usually around a 3.5. If you're below that, your resume might get tossed by an algorithm before a human ever sees it. Your goal for freshman year should be a 3.7 or higher. Period. How do you do this? You choose your major and your classes strategically. The best majors for investment banking are, unsurprisingly, finance, economics, or accounting. This isn't because they are inherently smarter, but because their coursework directly teaches you the language of business. You learn about financial statements, valuation, and market dynamics. If you're a liberal arts or engineering major, that's fine. Banks love diversity of thought, but you must supplement your major with core finance and accounting courses. You need to prove you can handle the quantitative rigor. Take Intro to Financial Accounting and Intro to Corporate Finance as early as possible. These aren't just classes. They are the bedrock of your technical interview knowledge. Pillar 2: activities. Banks want to see more than just a high GPA. They want to see evidence of leadership, teamwork, and a genuine interest in finance outside the classroom. This means joining the right extracurricular clubs. Every university has an investment club or a finance club. You need to join it on day 1. But here's the key. Do not just be a passive member who shows up for the free pizza. You need to get on the executive board. Run for treasurer. Be the vice president of stock pitches. Lead a team in a case competition. Banks hire leaders, not followers. Your resume needs to scream leadership potential. 1 or 2 deeply involved leadership roles are infinitely more valuable than a laundry list of 10 clubs you barely participated in. Quality over quantity always. Pillar 3: connections. This is where most people freeze up. Networking. It sounds intimidating, but let's demystify it. In your freshman year, networking has one simple goal: learning. You are not asking for a job. You are not asking for an internship. You are a sponge. Your mission is to talk to as many upperclassmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors who are also pursuing banking. Ask them about their experiences. What classes did they take? What clubs were most helpful? How did they get their last internship? These older students are your most valuable resource. They just went through the process you're starting. They can be your mentors and your guides. Use your university's alumni database and LinkedIn to find recent graduates who are now working in banking. Send them a short, polite email. Introduce yourself, say you're an ambitious freshman at their alma mater interested in finance, and ask if they have 15 minutes for a brief phone call to hear about their journey. This is called an informational interview. It's low pressure, it shows initiative, and it's the first step in building a professional network that will eventually get you a job. Your goal for freshman year: have at least 10 of these conversations. Keep a spreadsheet. Track who you talked to, what you learned, and when you should follow up. So, to recap your freshman year mission: a GPA of 3.7 or higher, a leadership role in the investment club, and a foundation of at least 10 informational interviews. If you can accomplish this, you are already ahead of 90% of your peers. You've built a powerful launchpad. But this is just the warm-up, because what comes next, sophomore year, is the most critical make-or-break year of your entire college career. It's the year you go from a student with an interest in finance to a legitimate candidate for Wall Street. It's where you have to land the one internship that puts you on every bank's radar. This internship, the one that serves as your 10-week interview for a full-time offer, is the junior year summer analyst position. And the brutal, unfiltered truth is that recruiting for this coveted spot doesn't start in your junior year. Starts now, in your sophomore year. Welcome to the gauntlet. Most college students treat their sophomore year as a victory lap for surviving freshman year. They take slightly harder classes, they settle into their friend groups, and they coast thinking the real work starts next year. For a future investment banker, this mindset is career suicide. The sophomore year isn't a break. It's the launch pad. Everything you do from this point forward is about meticulously crafting a narrative, a story that you will tell a managing director at Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley a year from now. And that story needs to be compelling. Your sophomore year strategy can be broken down into a two-pronged attack. The first prong is solidifying your base. The second is going on the offensive. Let's talk about the base. Your academic and extracurricular profile. Your GPA is no longer a nice-to-have. It's a non-negotiable screening tool. The algorithms that scan thousands of resumes will automatically discard anyone below a certain threshold. What is that threshold? The absolute bare minimum floor is a 3.5. But if you want to be competitive, you need to be aiming for a 3.7 or higher. Your sophomore year is your last real chance to significantly pull that number up. The grades you get this year carry immense weight. Beyond the GPA, you need to be intentional with your coursework. It's time to move past the introductory classes. You should be enrolling in intermediate accounting, corporate finance, and if possible, a class on valuation or financial modeling. This does two things. First, it gives you the technical vocabulary to speak intelligently during networking calls and interviews. You'll understand what working capital is, how a discounted cash flow model works, and the difference between enterprise value and equity value. Second, it signals to banks that your interest in finance is genuine and academic, not just a fleeting thought about a big paycheck. You are proactively seeking the knowledge required to do the job. Simultaneously, you need to level up your extracurricular involvement. Being a passive member of the student investment fund is no longer enough. You need to be on the executive board. You need to be the one organizing the stock pitch competitions, leading the financial modeling workshops, or managing a section of the club's portfolio. Why? Because this is how you demonstrate leadership, teamwork, and a passion for finance that extends beyond the classroom. When an interviewer asks, "Tell me about a time you led a team," you won't give a flimsy story about a group project. You'll talk about how you managed a team of 5 analysts, vetted 3 potential investments, and pitched your top pick to a board of 20 people, successfully getting capital allocated to your idea. That's a story. That's what gets you noticed. Now for the second prong of the attack, the one that separates the candidates from the contenders, going on the offensive. This means networking. And I don't mean just adding people on LinkedIn. I mean systematically and relentlessly building a web of contacts within the industry. Your goal for sophomore year should be to have 2 to 3 informational interviews every single week. These are 15 to 20-minute phone calls with alumni or other contacts who are currently working at the banks you want to work for. The process is simple, but it requires courage. You use your university's alumni database and LinkedIn to find people. Then you craft a short, professional, and respectful email. The subject line should be something like, University of, your school's student, question about investment banking. The body of the email is critical. You introduce yourself in 1 sentence. You explain that you're interested in learning more about their experience at their firm. And then you make the ask. Would you have 15 minutes to spare in the coming weeks for a brief phone call? I'm eager to learn from your experience. You attach your freshly polished 1-page resume. Most people are afraid of rejection, but this is a numbers game. For every 10 emails you send, you might get 3 or 4 responses. Of those, maybe 2 will lead to a call. That's a win. The purpose of these calls is not to ask for a job. I repeat, you are not asking for an internship. Your one and only goal is to learn. You ask them about their journey, their day-to-day work, the culture of their firm, and what advice they have for someone in your position. At the end of the call, you thank them for their time and ask one final powerful question. Based on our conversation, is there anyone else you think it would be helpful for me to speak with? This is how you turn 1 contact into 3 and 3 into 9. You are building your network 1 node at a time. While you're doing this, you need to be aware of a secret weapon: sophomore feeder programs. These are specialized early recruiting programs that major banks run to identify top talent ahead of the main junior year cycle. They go by many names: diversity summits, early insight days, or sophomore exploration programs. These are incredibly competitive. Getting into one is like getting a golden ticket. It often comes with a guaranteed first-round interview for the junior year summer analyst position everyone is fighting for. You need to be scouring bank websites in the fall of your sophomore year, noting every deadline, and tailoring your application for each one. Landing one of these doesn't just put you on the radar, it puts you in the cockpit. But what if you don't get into one of these programs? What if you're at a non-target school where the big banks don't recruit as heavily? This is where you can truly differentiate yourself with hustle. While your peers are waiting for summer, you find an off-cycle internship during the school year. You reach out to small, local investment banking boutiques, private equity search funds, or venture capital firms in your area. You offer to work for them for free 10 to 15 hours a week doing whatever they need. Financial modeling, market research, preparing presentation materials. This move is a checkmate. It shows an unbelievable level of proactivity and passion. By the time your sophomore summer rolls around, you already have 6 months of legitimate, real-world finance experience on your resume. You're not just a student anymore. You're an apprentice. This brings us to the sophomore summer internship itself. This is the dress rehearsal for the big show. Doesn't have to be at Goldman Sachs. In fact, it probably won't be. But it must be relevant. A corporate finance internship at a Fortune 500 company, a wealth management role at a place like Merrill Lynch or UBS, or an analyst position at a regional boutique investment bank are all fantastic options. The title matters less than the substance. You need to be able to walk into your junior year interviews and talk with detail and confidence about the financial models you built, the industry research you conducted, and the way you contributed to a live team. You need bullet points on your resume that start with action verbs like analyzed, valued, modeled, and prepared. As your sophomore year comes to a close and you head into that summer internship, you might feel a sense of accomplishment. You've balanced a high GPA, taken on leadership roles, built a network of dozens of Wall Street professionals, and secured a relevant summer job. You've done everything right. But the most terrifying part of this entire process is that the race you've been preparing for has already started. And you might not even know it. The timeline has shifted. Banks no longer wait for you to come back to campus for your junior year. They are reaching out to top candidates in July and August, while you're still in the middle of your sophomore internship. The official recruiting process, the one that determines your entire future, is about to begin. And it is a sprint, not a marathon. This is where everything changes. Forget what you think you know about job applications. This isn't about submitting your resume to an online portal and hoping for the best. That's a losing strategy. That's what the other 99% of candidates do. The Wall Street recruiting sprint is a full-contact sport, played in the shadows, months before any official job is even posted. It's won or lost on 2 battlefields, networking and technicals. And we're going to master both. Let's start with the one that makes most people uncomfortable: networking. The word itself sounds transactional, fake, but you need to reframe it. This isn't about schmoozing or being a slick salesperson. It's about building a small, dedicated army of advocates inside the very banks you want to work for. Think about it from the bank's perspective. They get tens of thousands of applications for a few dozen summer analyst spots. Every resume looks the same: high GPA, good school, some finance club. How do they filter? They don't. They rely on their own people. When an analyst or an associate forwards your resume to the hiring manager and says, "Hey, I spoke to this kid. They're sharp. We should give them a look," your resume is instantly teleported from the bottom of a digital black hole to the very top of the pile. That is the entire game. Your goal is not to get a job through networking. Your goal is to get the interview through networking. So how do you do it? You launch a systematic, disciplined, and relentless outreach campaign. This campaign is built around one single tool: the informational interview. This is a 15 to 20-minute phone call you request with an alum from your school, or a person in a group you're interested in, under the guise of learning more about their experience. It is the single most important weapon in your arsenal, and you get these calls by sending cold emails. Hundreds of them. The perfect cold email is an art form. It needs to be concise, respectful, and easy to say yes to. It has 4 key components. First, the subject line. It must be clear and professional. Something like, University of Michigan student question about TMT banking. It tells them who you are and what you want in 5 seconds. Second, the introduction. You state your name, your year, your university, and how you found them. My name is Jane Doe. I'm a sophomore at the University of Michigan. And I found your profile on LinkedIn while researching alumni in investment banking. If you have a shared connection like a fraternity or a student club, mention it here. This is your hook. Third, the connection and the why. This is where you show you've done your homework. Don't just say you're interested in banking. Be specific. I'm particularly interested in Morgan Stanley's technology, media, and telecom group, given my passion for the tech sector and the firm's role on the recent Snowflake IPO. This one sentence shows genuine interest and separates you from the crowd. Finally, the ask. This is the most critical part. You are not asking for a job. You are not asking for an internship. You are asking for a tiny, insignificant slice of their time. The wording is key. I know you are incredibly busy, but I was hoping I might be able to borrow 15 minutes of your time in the coming weeks to ask you a few questions about your experience. End it with a simple, best, or regards, and your name. That's it. Short, to the point, respectful. Now here's the reality check. You will send 100 of these emails to get maybe 20 responses. Out of those 20 responses, maybe 10 or 15 will actually lead to a phone call. This is a numbers game. You need to build a massive spreadsheet. List every bulge bracket bank, every elite boutique. Go on LinkedIn. Find analysts and associates who went to your school. If you're at a non-target school, find people with a similar major or from the same home state. Find any connection you can, and you start emailing. 10 a day, 20 a day, every single day. You are building a pipeline of conversations. When someone agrees to a call, you have one job. Make a great impression and turn them into an advocate. They already know why you're calling. You're not fooling anyone. So the first rule is to be prepared. Before you dial that number, you need to know their entire life story. Read their LinkedIn profile. Know where they went to school, what they studied, how long they've been at the bank, what group they're in. If you can find a news article mentioning a deal their group worked on, read it. The call itself has a simple structure. You start by thanking them for their time and giving your 30-second story. This is your elevator pitch. Hi John, thanks again so much for taking the time. As I mentioned, I'm a sophomore at Michigan studying finance. I first got interested in banking after working on a case competition analyzing a leveraged buyout, which led me to an internship at a small private equity search fund last summer. Now I'm really focused on breaking into technology investment banking, which is why I was so excited to connect with you. Then you turn it over to them. The best way to get someone to like you is to get them to talk about themselves. Ask smart, open-ended questions. Not, do you like your job? But, what's been the most surprising or challenging aspect of your role as an analyst? Not, what deals have you done? But, I saw your group advised on the Salesforce acquisition of Slack. I can only imagine how complex that was. What's the learning curve like when you get staffed on a deal of that magnitude? See the difference? You're showing you've done your homework and you're asking questions that make them think. Your goal for the first 10 minutes is to build rapport. Be personable. Be normal. If they mention they're from Chicago, and you're from Chicago, talk about that for a minute. This is a human business. People hire people they want to spend 100 hours a week with in a small room. As the call winds down, you make your second ask. It's subtle. You say, "This has been incredibly helpful, John. Based on our conversation, it sounds like Morgan Stanley's TMT group is exactly the kind of place I'm looking for. Is there anyone else in the group you think it might be helpful for me to speak with?" This is the golden question. If they say yes and offer to connect you with a colleague, you have just turned a cold outreach into a warm introduction. You are now inside. After the call, you send a thank you email within a few hours. Not a generic one. Reference something specific you talked about. Thanks again for your time. I especially appreciated your advice on preparing for the technical aspects of the interview. This keeps you top of mind. You manage this process for dozens and dozens of contacts across every bank on your list. It's a full-time job on top of your full-time schoolwork and your summer internship. It is an absolute grind. But making all these friends on Wall Street is only half the battle. Because once your new advocate forwards your resume to the right person, and you get that coveted email in your inbox inviting you to a first-round interview, the game changes completely. Your personality and your connections got you to the door, but they will not get you through it. Now, you have to prove you have the intellectual horsepower to actually do the job. You have to prove you have the technicals, and that is a whole different kind of war. This war is fought in a silent, air-conditioned room, across a polished mahogany table. It's you and 1, 2, maybe 3 senior bankers. They don't have swords. They have questions. and their goal is to run you through an intellectual gauntlet so intense it feels like a baptism by fire. This is the technical interview. And for 99% of aspiring bankers, this is where the dream dies. They're not just testing what you know. They're testing how you think under pressure. They want to see if you crack. They want to see if you can take a complex problem, break it down into its component parts, and articulate a logical, defensible answer, all while they stare at you completely deadpan. It's a simulation. They're trying to find out if you have the raw mental processing power to survive on the job when a multi-billion-dollar deal is imploding at 2 in the morning. So how do you arm yourself for this fight? You can't just memorize a guide. Memorization is the enemy. They can smell it a mile away, and they will shred you for it. Instead, you need to build a fortress of understanding from the ground up. This fortress is built on 3 foundational pillars. Master these and you can handle almost anything they throw at you. Pillar number 1. Accounting. I know. Sounds boring. It sounds like the class you slept through in college. But in the world of finance, accounting is not about bookkeeping. It is the literal language of business. If you don't speak it fluently, you cannot possibly hope to understand, analyze, or value a company. It's like trying to be a literature critic without knowing how to read. They will almost certainly start here with what seems like a simple, innocent question. Walk me through the 3 financial statements. This is not a request for a definition. This is the first test. A weak candidate will say, well, there's the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. And they'll stop. They're dead on arrival. A strong candidate understands the real question is, show me you understand how a business actually works, as told through its numbers. You start with the income statement. You talk about revenue at the top, you subtract your costs and expenses, and you work your way down to the bottom line, net income. Then, here's the critical part, you explain how that net income is the bridge. It's the first line item on the cash flow statement. It's the starting point. From there, you adjust for non-cash expenses like depreciation and amortization, you account for changes in working capital like inventory or accounts receivable, and you get to cash flow from operations. Then you talk about investing and financing activities. You get to your net change in cash for the period. But you're not done. That final cash balance from the cash flow statement flows back to the top of the balance sheet, into the single most important asset, cash. And that net income that started the whole journey, it also flows into the balance sheet, under shareholders' equity, in the form of retained earnings. You have to explain that connection. You have to show them that you see these 3 documents not as separate spreadsheets, but as one dynamic, interconnected organism that perfectly describes the financial health of a company. You have to make the numbers dance. That's how you pass the first test. Pillar number 2, valuation. This is the heart of investment banking. This is the art and science of putting a price tag on a company. If accounting is the language, valuation is the poetry. Any company, from a lemonade stand to Apple, is only worth what someone is willing to pay for it. The job of a banker is to build the most compelling argument for what that price should be. They'll ask you, how do you value a company? And again, the weak candidate lists the methods: DCF, public comps, precedent transactions. The end. Wrong. You need to explain the why behind each one. You need to frame it as a toolkit. You start with intrinsic valuation. This is the discounted cash flow analysis, or DCF. You explain the philosophy. A company's value today is the sum of all the cash it's going to generate in the future, discounted back to the present, because $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow. You talk about projecting out free cash flows, choosing a discount rate like WACC, and calculating a terminal value. You show them you understand the mechanics, but more importantly, the assumptions that drive it. What's a reasonable growth rate? How does the risk-free rate affect the discount rate? This is where you show you can think, not just calculate. Then you move to relative valuation. This is about what the market is paying for similar companies right now. You talk about public comparables, or comps. You find a universe of similar public companies, look at their trading multiples, like enterprise value to EBITDA, and apply the median of those multiples to your target company's EBITDA. But you have to explain the nuance. Why is this company a good comparison? Is it in the same industry? Does it have a similar growth profile? A similar margin profile? You're showing them you understand that no 2 companies are identical, and the art is in finding the right peer group. Then you discuss precedent transactions. This is similar to comps, but instead of looking at what similar companies are trading at today.
Disclaimer. The information presented is for informational purposes only and is not professional financial, investment, or tax advice. All investments involve risk and may result in partial or total loss. You should always conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any financial decisions. By viewing this video, you agree not to hold the creator liable for any loss or damage arising from your use of the information provided.
You're looking at what similar companies have actually been bought for in the past. This is critical because it includes a control premium, the extra amount an acquirer pays to gain control of a company. This is why precedent transaction multiples are almost always higher than public comps. You have to articulate that. You're not just listing methods, you're comparing and contrasting them, explaining their pros and cons and demonstrating which one might be more appropriate in a given situation. You're having an intelligent conversation. Pillar number 3, deal mechanics. This is where you apply the first 2 pillars to real-world scenarios. This is about leveraged buyouts, LBOs, and mergers and acquisitions, M&A. They need to know you can think like a deal maker. They might ask, walk me through a simple LBO model. Don't panic. An LBO is just a fancy way of buying a company using a ton of debt. The best analogy is buying a house with a mortgage. You put down a small down payment, the private equity firm's equity. You borrow the rest from the bank, the debt, and you use the cash flow generated by the company, the rental income in our analogy, to pay down that debt over time. After 5 to 7 years, you sell the company, hopefully for more than you paid. You pay back whatever debt is left, and the rest is your profit. The goal is to generate a high internal rate of return and IRR on that initial equity you put in. You need to explain how using debt or leverage amplifies those returns. You need to talk about what makes a good LBO candidate: stable cash flows, strong management, and a non-cyclical industry. Then there's M&A. They might ask, a company with a PE of 20 acquires a company with a PE of 10. Is the deal accretive or dilutive? This is a classic brain teaser. The simple answer is that it's accretive, because you're buying a stream of earnings for a lower price than your own earnings are valued at. But you can't just give the simple answer. You have to explain why. You talk about the acquirer's stock being a form of currency. Since their PE is higher, their currency is more valuable. They're using their more expensive stock to buy cheaper earnings, which means for every share they issue, they get more earnings in return, which increases their earnings per share. That's what accretion is. You have to break it down. Across all 3 pillars, there is one secret weapon that separates the top 1% from everyone else. It's the ability to answer the unspoken question that follows every technical query. So what? Okay, you walked me through the 3 statements. So what? The so what is that it shows the operational health and financial plumbing of a business. You know how to value a company. So what? The so what is that valuation sets the entire strategic landscape for a company. It determines who they can buy, who can buy them, and how they can raise money. The LBO model shows a 25% IRR. So what? The so what is that this tells a private equity firm whether a deal meets their fund's return threshold and is worth pursuing. For every answer you give, you must connect it back to a real-world business decision. You have to show them you're not just a student who memorized a textbook. You're a future banker who understands how to use this knowledge to give advice and make money. Mastering these technicals is non-negotiable. It's a grueling, humbling process of grinding through guides, building models from scratch, and doing mock interviews until the answers are second nature. Because in that room under those lights, you won't have time to think. You'll only have time to react. You have to build the knowledge so deep into your bones that it becomes instinct. But here's the final crucial twist. Even if you answer every technical question perfectly, even if your valuation knowledge is flawless and your accounting is impeccable, you still might not get the job. Because proving you're smart is only half the battle. Now you have to prove you're someone they can tolerate being stuck with in a tiny conference room at 3 o'clock in the morning for 5 days straight. You've passed the test of the spreadsheet. Now comes the test of the soul. This is where most aspiring bankers crash and burn. They spend hundreds of hours memorizing valuation methodologies, perfecting their LBO models, and reciting accounting principles like gospel. And they should. But they forget that the person sitting across from them isn't just hiring a human calculator. They're hiring a foxhole buddy. They're looking for someone they can trust, rely on, and frankly tolerate when the pressure is immense and the sleep is non-existent. The fit interview is the ultimate gatekeeper. It's a carefully calibrated psychological evaluation designed to answer 3 fundamental questions, and none of them are, can you calculate WACC? The real questions are, 1. Can you actually handle the soul-crushing grind of this job? 2. Do you genuinely want to be here? Or are you just chasing a paycheck? And 3. Are you a normal, reasonably interesting human being we won't want to throw out a window on day 3? Every single question you get, from tell me about yourself to what's your biggest weakness, is a Trojan horse designed to get at the answers to those 3 core questions. Let's break down the code. The first and most common question is the deceptively simple, walk me through your resume, or tell me about yourself. This is not an invitation to narrate your entire life story. It's not about your childhood dog or your summer camp experiences. This is your 90-second movie trailer. It needs to be concise, compelling, and lead to one inevitable conclusion, that you are destined for this exact role at this exact bank. The perfect story has a 3-act structure. Act 1, the spark. This is the origin story. What first ignited your interest in finance? Maybe it was a high school economics class where you first understood how capital markets shape the world. Maybe it was watching your family's small business struggle to get a loan, making you realize the power of corporate finance. Whatever it is, it needs to be authentic and specific. I've always been good with numbers is a death sentence. The 2008 financial crisis fascinated me because it was a global story of risk, human behavior, and intricate financial instruments, and I wanted to understand the machinery behind it. Now that's a spark. Act 2, the build. This is where you connect your spark to your actions. You didn't just get interested, you did something about it. This is where you talk about your finance club leadership, the specific classes you took that solidified your interest, the stock market competitions you won, or the valuation workshops you attended. Crucially, you connect each experience to a skill relevant to banking. Analytical rigor, teamwork, attention to detail. My interest in M&A led me to join the investment club, where I led a team of 4 to analyze a potential acquisition in the tech sector. I was responsible for building the DCF model, which taught me the importance of scrutinizing every assumption and presenting our findings to a panel of alumni, which honed my ability to defend my work under pressure. You see, every sentence is a building block, constructing the image of a future banker. Act 3, the ask. This is the climax. You've established your origin story and you've shown how you've prepared. Now you bring it all home. And all of these experiences have confirmed my passion for a fast-paced, analytical environment, which is why I'm so excited about the opportunity to join your technology group, especially given your recent work on the landmark, name a specific deal transaction. I'm eager to bring my modeling skills and work ethic to a team that's at the forefront of the industry. Boom! In 90 seconds, you've told them who you are, what you've done, and why you belong there. You've answered the question before they even had to ask. Next up, the dreaded why investment banking. And its close cousin, why our bank? This is a minefield of cliches. If your answer includes the phrases, fast-paced environment, working with smart people, or, I want to learn a lot, you've already lost. That's like saying you want to be a doctor because you like helping people. It's the bare minimum. It's what everyone says. Your answer needs to be a laser, not a shotgun. It has to be deeply personal and intensely specific. For why investment banking? Link it back to your spark. Talk about the tangible impact of the work. It's not just about spreadsheets. It's about enabling a promising startup to get the capital it needs to scale and create jobs. It's about advising a legacy company through a transformative merger that will secure its future for the next 50 years. You need to show that you understand the function of banking in the broader economy, not just the glamour. For why our bank? You need to prove you've done your homework. And I don't mean reading the About Us page. I mean you've gone deep. You should know their recent deals, especially from the group you're interviewing with. You should have an opinion on them. I was particularly impressed by your advisory work on the XYZ merger. Most analysts focused on the synergies, but I thought the most brilliant part was the complex debt structuring you used to finance it. It showed a level of creativity I haven't seen in other banks' deals. This shows you're not just a fan, you're a student of their work. Mention people you've spoken to at the firm. Speaking with Jane Doe from your industrials group, she emphasized the firm's collaborative culture and how junior bankers are given real responsibility early on. That's exactly the kind of environment where I know I'll thrive. This does 2 things. It proves your interest is genuine enough to have done networking, and it name drops an internal employee, creating an instant connection. You're not an outsider anymore. You're a friend of a friend. Finally, we have the behavioral questions. Tell me about a time you worked on a team. Tell me about a time you failed. Tell me about a time you had to persuade someone. These aren't therapy sessions. They are tests of your character, your self-awareness, and your ability to craft a narrative. For every one of these, you must use the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result. But let's rebrand it. It's not the STAR method. It's the hero's journey method. You were the hero faced with a challenge. Situation. In my internship last summer, my team was tasked with creating a pitch deck for a potential client on a tight 48-hour deadline. Set the scene, create the stakes. Task. My specific responsibility was to build the valuation models, but our data provider crashed, and we were missing critical information. Introduce the conflict, the dragon that needs slaying. Action. Instead of panicking, I immediately took ownership. First, I called our data provider support line and stayed on with them for 2 hours to troubleshoot. While I was on hold, I delegated to a teammate to find alternative public filings that could serve as a backup. I then manually cross-referenced the new data to ensure its integrity before plugging it into the model, working through the night to rebuild it from scratch. This is the most important part. You didn't just work hard. You took specific, logical, proactive steps. You led. You solved the problem. Result. As a result, we completed the model just in time. The pitch deck was a success, and the managing director praised our team for our resilience under pressure. The experience taught me the importance of resourcefulness, and that even in a crisis, a calm, systematic approach is the most effective way to solve a problem. The happy ending, and most importantly, the moral of the story. What did you learn? How did you grow? Show them you're reflective and coachable. Underpinning all of this is the unspoken airport test. It's a simple concept that every banker uses. If my flight was canceled and I was stuck in an airport with this candidate for 8 hours, would I enjoy the conversation? Or would I want to fake a medical emergency to get away? This is why your hobbies and interests on your resume actually matter. Be prepared to talk about them with genuine passion. Are you a competitive marathon runner? Talk about the discipline and mental fortitude it requires. Do you restore classic cars? Talk about the meticulous attention to detail and the satisfaction of bringing something complex back to life. They want to see a spark. They want to hire a person, not a resume. They're looking for someone with drive, intellectual curiosity, and a personality that won't curdle the milk in the break room. Because when a multi-billion-dollar deal is falling apart at 4 a.m., and the client is screaming on the phone, your technical skills are just the ticket to entry. What will really matter is your resilience, your attitude, and your ability to be a calming, competent presence in the storm. You have to prove you're not just smart enough for the job, but tough enough and human enough to survive it. Passing this test is what separates the candidates from the hires. It's how you prove you're not just another applicant but one of them. And the only way to truly prepare for this trial by fire is to get in the reps, to practice your story, and to start talking to the people who are already on the inside. This process is called networking. And I know you hear that word and you probably cringe. You picture some stuffy room, awkwardly shaking hands and handing out business cards. Forget that. In investment banking, networking isn't a suggestion. It's the entire game. It's not about who you know, it's about who you get to know. This is the secret pathway, the unofficial application process that runs parallel to the official one you see online. While everyone else is just throwing their resume into the black hole of an online portal, you're going to be building an army of advocates on the inside. So where do you even begin? You start by building a list. A target list. Think of yourself as a detective. Your mission is to identify every single person who could potentially help you. Your primary tools are LinkedIn and your university's alumni database. Let's start with LinkedIn. It's a goldmine, but most people use it wrong. Don't just search for Goldman Sachs. You need to get surgical. Use the filters. Filter by company. Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Evercore, Lazard, all your dream firms. Then filter by school. Start with your own university. This is your warmest possible lead. An analyst at Morgan Stanley who went to your school is 1,000 times more likely to talk to you than a random stranger. Expand your search. Did you go to a state school? Search for every bulge bracket and elite boutique banker who went to another big state school. They understand the hustle. Are you a student athlete? Find other former athletes. Member of a specific club? Find alumni from that club. The goal is to find a point of commonality. A hook, something that makes you more than just a name in their inbox. Build a spreadsheet. Name, title, firm, school, email address, and a column for notes. Your goal should be to identify at least 100 people. Yes, 100. This is a numbers game and we're playing to win. Now for the alumni database. This is your secret weapon. These people have explicitly opted in to be contacted by students from their alma mater. It's a pre-vetted, warm list. The contact info is usually more direct, often a personal email, which has a much higher response rate. Scour this database with the same precision as you did on LinkedIn. Add every relevant contact to your master spreadsheet. Okay, you have your list. 100 names of analysts and associates at the best firms in the world. Now comes the moment of truth, the cold email. This is where 99% of aspirants fail. They write long, rambling emails begging for a job, or they sound like a generic, copy-pasted template. Your email needs to be a work of art. It must be concise, respectful, and easy to respond to. Let's break down the perfect cold email. It has 4 parts. First, the subject line. This is critical. It needs to be opened. Bad subject lines are internship inquiry or aspiring investment banker. These scream, "I want something from you," and get instantly deleted. A great subject line is short, specific, and establishes a connection. Something like, "Your university name student seeking advice," or "Fellow mascot name, quick question." It's non-threatening. It's intriguing. Shows you've done your research. Second, the opening line. You have 5 seconds to grab their attention. Immediately state your connection. "My name is your name, and I'm a sophomore finance major at your university, the same school you attended." Or, "I found your profile on LinkedIn and was incredibly impressed by your path from their previous role to your current role at their firm." You're showing them you're not just spamming a list. You've specifically chosen to reach out to them. Third, the body and the ask. This is where you briefly introduce your story. 1 or 2 sentences, max. "I've been passionate about finance after my experience in your club name investment fund, and I'm working hard to break into investment banking." Then the ask. And listen closely because this is the most important part. You are never asking for a job. You are never asking for an internship. You are never asking for a referral. You are only asking for one thing: advice. Specifically, 15 minutes of their time. The magic phrase is something like this: "I know you have an incredibly demanding schedule, but I was hoping you might have 15 minutes in the coming weeks for a brief phone call. I'd love to learn more about your experience at their firm and hear any advice you have for a student in my position." People, especially successful people, love to give advice. It's flattering. Positions them as the expert. Asking for a job makes them a gatekeeper. Asking for advice makes them a mentor. Fourth, the close. Make it as easy as possible for them to say yes. Say, "Please let me know if you have any availability. I am flexible and happy to work completely around your schedule." Then you add this crucial line: "I've attached my resume for context." Notice the wording. Not for your consideration or for a potential opening. It's for context. This is a subtle, high-level move. It allows them to see your qualifications without you having to awkwardly ask them to look at it. It respects their intelligence. You send that email, and then you wait. Some will ignore it. That's fine. Move on. But many will respond. When they do, you schedule the call. This is the informational interview. This is your Super Bowl. You cannot, under any circumstances, wing it. You need to prepare more for this 15-minute call than you do for a final exam. First, research the person you're speaking with. Know their entire career path. Read any articles they're mentioned in. Know the deals their group has recently worked on. If they cover the tech industry, you better know the latest trends in SaaS valuations. You need to be able to have an intelligent conversation. Second, prepare your questions. Do not ask questions you can Google. Do not ask, "So what's it like to be a banker?" It's lazy. Your questions need to be thoughtful. Group them into categories. Start with questions about them. "I saw you transition from consulting to banking. What motivated that switch and what was the biggest challenge you faced?" Then questions about the firm. "I know their firm is known for its strong culture. From your perspective as an analyst, how does that manifest on a day-to-day basis?" Then questions for advice. Knowing what you know now, what is the one thing you would have done differently during the recruiting process as a student? And finally, have 1 or 2 market-related questions ready to show you're commercially aware. "I was reading about the recent SPAC boom cooling off. How are you seeing that impact deal flow in your group?" The call itself is a performance. Start by thanking them profusely for their time. Give your 30-second story that we crafted earlier. Then turn the spotlight on them and start asking your prepared questions. Your goal is to get them talking. The more they talk, the more they will like you. It's a psychological principle called reciprocity. Listen intently. Take notes. Be engaged. Be curious. As you approach the 15-minute mark, be respectful of their time. Say, I know I've taken up the 15 minutes I asked for, but I just have one final question if you have a moment. This shows you're professional. And here it is. This is the golden question. The one question that separates the amateurs from the pros. You ask, you've been incredibly helpful. Based on our conversation today, is there anyone else on your team or in your network who you think it would be valuable for me to speak with? This question is pure genius. If they say yes and offer to connect you with a colleague, you've just turned a cold outreach into a warm introduction. You've just leveled up. That colleague will now take your call because their trusted teammate recommended it. This is how you build your network. One call leads to another. You're no longer an outsider. You're being passed along the inside track. After the call, your job isn't done. Within 12 hours, you must send a thank you email. Not a generic one, a specific one. Reference something you talked about. Thank you again for your time today. I especially appreciated your insights on the future of M&A in the renewable energy sector. I'll be sure to read that report you mentioned. This proves you were listening and reinforces the connection. You repeat this process over and over with your entire list of 100 people. It's a grind, takes discipline, but each call you do, you get better. Your story gets tighter. Your questions get smarter. You start to understand the language, the culture, the unwritten rules of Wall Street. You're no longer just a student with a GPA. You're becoming a candidate. You're building relationships, collecting data points, and more importantly, you're getting your name on the radar. When that application portal finally opens, and your resume lands on a hiring manager's desk, it won't be a cold submission. It'll be a familiar name, one that an analyst on his team has already flagged as, hey, I spoke to this kid. They're sharp. That is the difference between getting an interview and getting deleted. It's everything. But getting the interview is only half the battle. Now you have to pass it. And that means mastering the technicals. The technical interview is the great filter. It is the single biggest hurdle that separates the pretenders from the contenders. Because in investment banking, you can't just be a smooth talker. You have to have the intellectual horsepower to back it up. So what are the technicals? It sounds intimidating, but at its core, it's just the financial toolkit you'll use every single day on the job. Think of it as the language of finance. You can't join the conversation if you don't speak the language. And this language is built on 3 core pillars: accounting, valuation, and transaction modeling. Let's break them down one by one. First and most importantly is accounting. I cannot stress this enough. Accounting is the bedrock of everything. If your accounting foundation is shaky, the entire structure of your financial knowledge will collapse under pressure. You might think, I'm not going to be an accountant, why do I need to know this so deeply? Because accounting is how a company communicates its health. The financial statements are its report card, its biography, and its medical chart all rolled into one. If you can't read them fluently, you cannot do the job. Period. So what do you need to know? You need to know the 3 core financial statements like the back of your hand. The income statement, the balance sheet, and the statement of cash flows. You need to know what each one represents. The income statement tells you about a company's performance over a period of time, its revenues, its costs, and its ultimate profit. The balance sheet is a snapshot in time. It tells you what a company owns, its assets and what it owes, its liabilities and equity. It's governed by the fundamental equation: assets equals liabilities plus shareholders' equity. And finally, the statement of cash flows, which is arguably the most important. It reconciles the net income from the income statement to the actual change in cash on the balance sheet. Because profit isn't cash. A company can be wildly profitable on paper and go bankrupt because it ran out of cash. Cash is king, and this statement tells you where the king is moving. But the real test, the question you are almost guaranteed to get in some form, is, how do the 3 statements link together? This is the moment of truth. You need to be able to walk an interviewer through this seamlessly. You start with net income at the top of the statement of cash flows. You adjust for non-cash expenses like depreciation and amortization, which you pull from the income statement. You account for changes in working capital items like accounts receivable and inventory, which come from the balance sheet. The final cash flow number for the period then updates the cash balance on the new balance sheet. And net income, minus any dividends paid, flows into retained earnings under shareholders' equity on the balance sheet, making the whole thing balance. If you can explain that process clearly, concisely, and confidently, you've just passed a massive test. You've shown you don't just memorize facts, you understand the system. Once you have that accounting foundation, you can move to the second pillar, valuation. This is the sexy part. This is what most people think of when they think of investment banking. How much is a company worth? This is the billion-dollar or sometimes trillion-dollar question, and you can't just pull a number out of thin air. You need a rigorous, defensible process. There are several ways to do this, but the main three you absolutely must know are the discounted cash flow analysis or DCF, public comparables or comps, and precedent transactions. Let's start with the DCF. A DCF is built on a very simple, powerful idea. A company's value today is equal to the sum of all the cash it's going to generate in the future, discounted back to its present value. Why discounted? Because $1 tomorrow is worth less than $1 today. You could invest that dollar today and earn a return. So, you project a company's free cash flows out for 5 or 10 years, then you calculate a terminal value to represent all the cash flows beyond that projection period, and you discount all of that back to today using a discount rate, typically the weighted average cost of capital or WACC. It's considered the most intrinsic form of valuation because it's based on the company's own ability to generate cash, not on what the market is doing on a particular day. Next, you have public comparables or comps. This is a relative valuation method. The logic is simple. If you want to know what your house is worth, you look at what similar houses in your neighborhood have sold for recently. It's the same for companies. You find a universe of publicly traded companies that are similar in industry, size, and growth profile. You then look at valuation multiples for those companies, like enterprise value to EBITDA or price to earnings, and you apply the median or average of those multiples to your company's own financial metrics to get a valuation range. It's a reality check. It tells you what the market is willing to pay for similar businesses right now. Finally, there's precedent transactions. This is very similar to comps, but instead of looking at currently trading public companies, you look at what companies have actually been bought and sold for in the recent past. You're looking at M&A deals. This is often considered the most relevant for an M&A banker because it shows what a strategic acquirer was willing to pay to take full control of a similar business. These valuations often include a control premium, which is the extra amount an acquirer pays to get the synergies and control that come with an outright purchase. You need to be able to explain the pros and cons of each of these methods, why a DCF might give you a different value than comps, and when you would use one over the other. The third pillar is transaction modeling. For an internship or a first-year analyst role, you aren't expected to be a modeling wizard, but you need to understand the concepts behind the two most common types of models: a merger model, also called an accretion/dilution model, and a leveraged buyout model or LBO. A merger model is used to analyze the financial impact of one company buying another. The key question it answers is, will this deal increase or decrease the acquirer's earnings per share, or EPS? If the combined EPS is higher, the deal is accretive. If it's lower, it's dilutive. You need to be able to walk an interviewer through the basic steps, making assumptions about the purchase price and how it's funded, with cash, debt, or stock, and then combining the income statements of the two companies to see the impact on the new EPS. An LBO model is the bread and butter of private equity, but bankers need to understand it because private equity firms are major clients. An LBO is the financial equivalent of buying a house with a mortgage. A private equity firm uses a small amount of its own money, the equity, and a large amount of borrowed money, the debt, to buy a company. They then use the company's own cash flow to pay down that debt over several years. The goal is to sell the company 5 to 7 years later for a profit. The less of their own money they put in up front and the more debt they pay down, the higher their return on investment. You need to understand the mechanics and what makes a company a good LBO candidate. Stable cash flows, strong management, and a non-cyclical industry are key. So, how do you learn all this? You don't get this from a standard college curriculum. You have to go out and get it yourself. You need to buy the guides. The Breaking into Wall Street Guide, the Wall Street Oasis Technical Guide. These are the Bibles. They contain hundreds of the most common technical and behavioral questions and, more importantly, the answers. You need to read them, study them, and internalize them. Don't just memorize the answers. That's the biggest mistake people make. An interviewer will spot a memorized answer from a mile away and will immediately poke holes in it with follow-up questions. You need to understand the why behind every answer. Practice explaining these concepts out loud to a friend, to your dog, to the wall. If you can't explain a DCF simply, you don't really understand it.
Disclaimer. The information presented is for informational purposes only and is not professional financial, investment, or tax advice. All investments involve risk and may result in partial or total loss. You should always conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any financial decisions. By viewing this video, you agree not to hold the creator liable for any loss or damage arising from your use of the information provided.
But here's the secret. The technical interview isn't just a test of your knowledge. It's a test of your composure. They want to see how you think under pressure. Sometimes an interviewer will throw you a brain teaser or a problem you have no idea how to solve. They don't care if you get the right answer. They care about your process. They want to see you take a deep breath, break the problem down into logical pieces, state your assumptions, and walk them through your thought process. A candidate who calmly works through a problem and gets it wrong is infinitely more impressive than a candidate who panics or gives a flustered, memorized answer. They're not just hiring a human calculator, they're hiring a future colleague who they can put in front of a client. They're testing if you have the poise and the problem-solving grit to handle the job. Once you've got your story locked down, your networking is in full swing, and your technical knowledge is rock solid, you're ready to step into the arena. You're ready for the final gauntlet. The Super Day, a marathon of back-to-back interviews designed to test your absolute limits and see if you truly have what it takes. This is it. The ultimate test of your mettle. The Super Day isn't just a series of interviews. It's a carefully orchestrated stress test. Think of it like the final round of the NFL draft. The bank has seen your highlight reel, your resume. They've seen your combine stats, your first-round interview performance. Now they want to sit you down with the coaches, the general manager, and the star players to see if you can handle the playbook and, more importantly, if you're the kind of person they want in their locker room when the game is on the line. The day typically involves anywhere from 4 to 8 back-to-back interviews, usually lasting 30 minutes each. You'll meet a spectrum of bankers, from analysts who were in your shoes just a year or two ago, to seasoned managing directors who have closed billion-dollar deals. Each one has a different perspective, a different set of questions, and a different vote in the final decision room. Their goal is to build a complete, three-dimensional picture of you. They're looking for consistency. Can you be as sharp, articulate, and enthusiastic in your 6th interview at 3 p.m. as you were in your first one at 9 a.m.? A single bad interview can sink your entire candidacy. There are no weak links allowed. So, let's break down what actually happens in these rooms. Every single interview, regardless of who is conducting it, will be a blend of 3 core components: the behavioral, the technical, and the fit. First, the behavioral. You've already prepared for this, but now the stakes are higher. Your story needs to be absolutely flawless. Your why investment banking can't just be a generic answer about liking finance and math. It needs to be a compelling narrative that connects your past experiences, your skills, and your future ambitions directly to the role of an analyst at their specific firm. By this stage, they expect you to know their recent deals, their market position, and their culture. You need to be able to say, "I was particularly drawn to your firm because of your leadership in the technology sector, specifically the advisory role on the recent Cloudflare acquisition. That type of strategic transaction is exactly what I've been studying, and what I'm passionate about contributing to." It shows you've done your homework beyond a cursory glance at their homepage. For questions like, "Tell me about a time you worked on a team," or "Describe a failure," the STAR method is your best friend. Situation, task, action, result. But don't just recite it like a robot. Tell a story. Engage them. They're not just listening for the content. They're evaluating your communication skills. Are you confident? Do you make eye contact? Can you articulate a complex situation clearly and concisely? They're trying to picture you in front of a client. Can you be trusted to represent the firm? Your energy and enthusiasm are non-negotiable. After interviewing 10 other candidates who are all smart, they're looking for someone who genuinely seems excited to be there. Next, the technical gauntlet. You might think that passing the first-round technical screen means you're in the clear. You are not. The Super Day technicals are deeper, more applied, and designed to test your true understanding, not just your ability to memorize formulas. Instead of "walk me through a DCF," a vice president might ask, "Let's say a company's primary raw material cost doubles overnight. Walk me through how that would impact its 3 financial statements and what key valuation metrics would be most affected." They're testing your financial intuition. They want to see how you think on your feet. You have to know accounting like the back of your hand. What happens when a company buys back stock? What's the difference between payé interest and cash interest, and how do they affect the statements? You need to understand valuation methodologies not just in theory but in practice. When is a DCF more appropriate than a comps analysis? What are the biggest drivers of a leveraged buyout model? They might even throw you a mini case study. We're thinking of advising a struggling retail company. What are the first 3 things you'd look at in their financials and why? It's a conversation. They want to see your thought process. It's okay to say, "That's a great question, let me think about that for a second." It's not okay to panic and freeze. They value a logical, structured approach far more than a rushed, incorrect answer. And then there's the third and arguably most important element, fit. This isn't a section of the interview, it's the undercurrent of the entire day. Fit is the answer to the unspoken question every interviewer is asking. Do I want to work with this person? They call it the airport test. If your flight was canceled and you were stuck in an airport with this candidate for 8 hours, would you enjoy the conversation or would you be looking for the nearest exit? Remember, an investment banking analyst works grueling hours, often 80 to 100 hours a week, in high-pressure teams. Your personality, your attitude, and your ability to be a good teammate are paramount. They're looking for a very specific combination of traits: confidence without arrogance, intelligence with humility, and ambition with a collaborative spirit. Are you genuinely curious? Do you listen as much as you talk? Are you someone who will raise their hand to help a teammate at 2 a.m.? Or are you someone who will complain about the workload? Every interaction, from the moment you walk in the door to the small talk about your weekend, is part of the fit assessment. You'll meet analysts who will be very informal, trying to see if you're a normal person. Then you'll meet managing directors who are more formal, testing your executive presence. You must adapt, but your core personality, positive, driven, and genuine, must remain consistent. Navigating the day itself is a marathon, not a sprint. Your stamina will be tested. By the 5th interview, your brain will feel like mush, but your energy level cannot drop. This is where your preparation and passion have to carry you through. A key strategy is to connect the dots between your interviews. If an associate in the first interview mentions a challenge their team is facing with a particular deal, you can bring it up in a later interview with a VP. I was speaking with John earlier, and he mentioned the complexities in valuing intellectual property for your software clients. I was wondering, from your perspective, how the firm is adapting its valuation models to better capture that intangible value. This shows you're not just a passive participant. You are an active, engaged listener who is synthesizing information in real time. It's an incredibly impressive, high-level move. Finally, at the end of each 30-minute session, you'll be hit with the classic, "So, do you have any questions for me?" This is not a formality. It is your final chance to make an impression. Your questions reveal your priorities and your level of insight. Do not ask questions you could have Googled. Do not ask about vacation time or salary. Ask thoughtful, specific questions that demonstrate your interest in them and the firm. Ask about their personal experience. What has been the most challenging deal you've worked on? And what was the key lesson you took away from it? Ask about the team. What's the most common characteristic you see among your top-performing analysts? Ask about the future. Given the current macroeconomic climate, what do you see as the biggest opportunity for your group in the next 12 to 18 months? These questions turn the interview into a conversation between two professionals, not an interrogation. After the final handshake, your day isn't quite over. You need to send personalized thank you emails to every single person you interviewed with within 24 hours. In each email, reference a specific point from your conversation. This jogs their memory and reinforces that you were paying attention. Something like, "Thank you again for your time today. I particularly enjoyed our discussion on the future of renewable energy M&A." It's a small detail, but in a process this competitive, the small details are everything. Then comes the hardest part, the wait. But in banking, it's usually not a long one. The partners, VPs, and MDs will huddle in a room right after the super day ends. They'll go through the list of candidates and each interviewer will give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's a swift and sometimes brutal process. If you're their candidate, you can expect a call that same evening or the next day with an offer. And that offer will likely be exploding, meaning you have only a few days, sometimes just 24 hours, to accept or decline. They want people who want them, and they want them now. The super day is the final, brutal, exhilarating gate. Pass through it and you've done it. You've broken into one of the most exclusive and demanding industries on the planet. But that phone call, it changes everything. It usually comes within 24 hours, often that same evening. Your phone buzzes, and the caller ID is a New York number you don't recognize. Your heart doesn't just pound. It feels like it's trying to escape your chest. You answer, your voice trying to sound calm, professional, anything but the terrified, hopeful wreck you actually are. And on the other end, it's the managing director from your final interview. They cut right to it. "We were all incredibly impressed with you today," they'll say. "We'd like to formally extend you an offer to join us as a summer analyst." In that moment, the world goes silent. The months, maybe years of grinding, the networking calls, the technical prep, the behavioral stories you recited in the shower, it all coalesces into this one perfect validating point in time. It's a feeling of relief so profound it's almost heavy. You did it. You actually did it. You thank them profusely, you express your excitement, and you tell them you're thrilled. You hang up the phone, and for a few seconds you just stand there. Then the adrenaline hits. You've conquered the mountain. Now, for the best problem you can possibly have, what if a second call comes? And then a third? Suddenly, you're not just a candidate. You're a commodity. This is where the game changes. You have leverage. Banks talk to each other, but more importantly, candidates talk to banks. If you have an offer from Goldman Sachs, you can politely and professionally let your contact at Morgan Stanley know. You don't frame it as an ultimatum. You frame it as a difficult decision. "I was so impressed with my interviews at Morgan Stanley and really connected with the team. I've just received another offer with a very tight deadline, but my preference would be to work with you. I was wondering if you had an update on my own timeline." This is a power move. It forces their hand. It can accelerate their decision process from a week to a few hours. Deciding between offers is its own form of high-stakes analysis. Do you go for the bulge bracket with the global brand name, the massive deal flow, and the structured training program? Or do you choose the elite boutique, like Evercore or Centiview, known for leaner deal teams, more responsibility early on, and potentially higher pay per hour worked? You have to think about culture. Did you genuinely connect with the people you met? Can you see yourself in a trench with them at 3 a.m.? You also have to consider exit opportunities. Certain groups at certain banks are known as pipelines to mega-fund private equity or top-tier hedge funds. This is the time to reach back out to your network, to the analysts and associates you spoke with, and ask the hard questions. What's the culture really like? What are the hours for a first year? Where did last year's analyst class end up? This decision will shape the first crucial years of your career, so you do your due diligence, weigh the pros and cons, and then you make the call. You accept one offer. And as soon as you do, a new kind of anxiety begins. The background check. This is not your average retail job check. This is a forensic audit of your life. The firm you're joining will hire a third-party company to verify every single line item on your resume. That 3.84 GPA you rounded up to a 3.9? They will get your official transcript and they will find it. That boutique M&A internship, that was really just an unpaid winter break gig fetching coffee for your uncle? They will call the company and verify your title and dates of employment. They will run a criminal background check. They will check your credit score. Any discrepancy, any embellishment, any lie, no matter how small, is grounds for immediate rescission of your offer. I have seen it happen. A brilliant candidate with an offer from a top bank had his offer pulled 2 weeks before his start date because he lied about being the president of a student club. They found out. They don't care about the reason, they care about the integrity. The entire industry runs on trust and reputation. If you can't be trusted on your resume, you can't be trusted with a multi-billion-dollar deal. Be honest. Be transparent. It's the only way. Once you clear the background check, you enter a strange limbo. You have the job, but you haven't started yet. This is not the time to coast. The bank will start sending you pre-work materials, training modules on accounting, valuation, financial modeling. Do them. They'll also likely require you to pass the SIE exam, the Securities Industry Essentials, before you even walk in the door. They'll send you the prep materials. You need to take this seriously and pass it on the first try. This is your first test, and you haven't even started the job. But the real test, the true final boss of this entire process, is the summer internship itself. Let's be crystal clear. The internship is not a 10-week summer camp. It is a 10-week, high-stakes, high-pressure job interview. From the moment you walk in, you are being evaluated. Every email you send, every model you build, every question you ask, every interaction you have at the intern happy hour, it's all a data point. The bank is making a multi-million-dollar decision on you. They're not just hiring an analyst. They're investing in a potential future vice president or managing director. Your goal is singular. Secure the full-time return offer. So how do you do it? First, your attitude is everything. You need to radiate positive energy, even when you're running on 3 hours of sleep and staring at your 10th Excel crash of the night. You are the lowest person on the totem pole. No task is beneath you. Binding pitch books, making coffee runs, ordering the team's dinner at 10 p.m. You do it, and you do it with a smile. You are hungry, you are humble, and you are smart. In that order. Second, master the art of being present. The concept of FaceTime is real. You should be one of the first people in the office and one of the last to leave. And you don't leave until you've asked every single analyst and associate on your team if they need help with anything else. This isn't just about being seen. It's about being reliable and available when the real work hits, which is often late at night. Third, learn how to ask questions. Don't be the intern who asks nothing, because that signals a lack of engagement. But also, don't be the intern who asks questions you could have answered with a 5-second Google search. That signals laziness. Your strategy should be this. When you get stuck, spend 15 minutes trying to figure it out on your own. If you're still stuck, write your question down. Keep a running list. Then, when you have a few intelligent, well-thought-out questions, approach an analyst. Ask if they have a minute. This respects their time and shows that you've made an effort. Fourth, carry a notebook and pen everywhere. Everywhere. In a meeting, take notes. Getting instructions from an associate? Write down every single word. This does two things. It ensures you don't forget a crucial detail, and it signals to everyone that you are engaged and take their time seriously. Nothing is worse than having to ask an analyst to repeat instructions they gave you 10 minutes ago. Fifth, check your work. Then check it again. Then print it out and check it a third time on paper. A single misplaced decimal point or a typo in a CEO's name on a pitch deck can be a catastrophic error. It undermines the credibility of the entire team. Your attention to detail is your most valuable currency as an intern. Be meticulous. Be paranoid. Your goal is to produce work that is as close to perfect as humanly possible. When an analyst gets work from you, they should feel confident that it's clean. Finally, you need to network internally. Your performance on your deal team is critical, but you also need to be known by the wider group. The bank will set up events, coffee chats, and mentorship programs. Go to all of them. Make an effort to meet people outside of your immediate team. When it comes time for the final decision-making meeting about which interns get offers, you want as many people in that room as possible to know your name and have a positive impression of you. Throughout the summer, you'll have a midsummer review and a final review. This is direct, often blunt feedback on your performance. Absorb it. Don't get defensive. Thank them for the feedback, and immediately implement the changes they suggest. If they say you need to be more vocal in meetings, you start speaking up in the very next meeting. They are testing your coachability. They are seeing if you can take criticism and improve. Because in this job, you are never done learning, and you are never done improving. The internship is a trial by fire, designed to see who can handle the heat, who has the grit, and who truly belongs. And then it happens. The final weeks of the internship are a blur of final presentations, exit interviews, and a palpable tension in the air. You've given it everything. You've survived the brutal hours, the endless revisions, the constant pressure. You've networked, you've learned, you've produced. Now you wait. The call or the meeting with your group head is the culmination of years of effort. This is the moment that determines if the sacrifice was worth it. When they slide that offer letter across the table, it's a feeling of pure, unadulterated victory. You've made it. You've secured the full-time investment banking analyst role. Congratulations. Now the real work begins. That summer was just the trailer. The full-time analyst program is the feature film. And it's a 3-hour epic with no intermission. The first 2 years are known as the analyst program, and this is where legends are forged and souls are tested. The 80 to 100-hour work week is not a myth. It is your reality. Your life will revolve around the deal cycle. Your friends will stop inviting you out because your response is always, "Sorry, I'm slammed, maybe next week." Your phone will be surgically attached to your hand, and the chime of a new email at 2 a.m. will jolt you awake faster than a triple espresso. Your life becomes a cycle of building financial models, creating pitch books, and managing administrative tasks. Let's break that down. The modeling is the core analytical work. You'll be in Excel for hours building discounted cash flow models, leveraged buyout models, and complex merger analyses from scratch. You'll become an Excel wizard, your fingers flying across the keyboard, executing shortcuts you didn't even know existed. You'll learn to love the quiet satisfaction of a balance sheet that actually balances and a model that runs without errors. Then there are the pitch books. Oh, the pitch books. These are the 100-page PowerPoint presentations that are the lifeblood of the bank. They are used to pitch ideas to clients and win new business. You will spend a shocking amount of your life on these documents. You'll be adjusting logos to be pixel perfect at 3 a.m. You'll be triple-checking every single number. Because one typo can destroy credibility. You'll be subject to endless turns of comments from your associate, your vice president, and your managing director, often with conflicting feedback. You will learn the true meaning of attention to detail when a VP asks you why the shade of blue in the chart on page 74 is slightly different from the one on page 12. This is not an exaggeration. This is your life now. But here's the secret. While you're in the trenches drowning in work, something incredible is happening. The learning curve is vertical. You are absorbing more about finance, business strategy, and execution in your first 6 months than you learned in your entire college career. You're not just reading about multi-billion-dollar M&A deals in the Wall Street Journal. You are in the room. You are building the model that determines the valuation. You are on the calls with the lawyers and the client's C-suite. You are a 22-year-old playing a critical role in transactions that shape entire industries. The level of responsibility given to you is staggering, and it forces you to grow up fast. So how do you survive, and more importantly, how do you thrive? First, your attitude is everything. You must have a relentless, positive, can-do attitude. When your associate asks you to rerun a model at 10 p.m. on a Friday, your only response is, on it. No complaints, no excuses. They are looking for reliability and a team player. Be the person they can count on no matter what. Second, develop a zero-defect mentality. Your work product is a reflection of you. Check everything. Then check it again. And before you send it, check it one last time. Printing out your work to proofread it is a classic, effective technique. A single mistake can get you crushed in a meeting and damage your reputation. Strive for perfection in every task, even the most menial ones. Third, learn to manage up. Your bosses are incredibly busy and under immense pressure. Your job is to make their lives easier. Anticipate their needs. If they ask for a number, have the backup for that number ready. If you're sending an update, be concise and clear. Understand that an associate needs the details, a VP needs the summary, and a managing director just needs the final answer. Learning to communicate effectively with different levels of seniority is a superpower. And finally, your analyst class is your lifeline. These are the only other people on earth who truly understand what you're going through. You will forge incredible bonds in the late-night hours, complaining about work over takeout food. They are your support system, your study group, and your future network. Don't be the person who is overly competitive or hoards information. Help your peers and they will help you. The banking world is small, and your reputation starts on day one. After 2, maybe 3 years of this relentless grind, you face a choice. Do you stay, hoping to get promoted to associate? Or do you take the golden ticket you've just earned and punch out to what are known as exit opportunities? This is the ultimate payoff. The reason so many people endure the analyst program is for the doors it opens. And those doors lead to the most coveted jobs in finance. The classic path is private equity. After spending 2 years advising companies on deals, you now get to be on the other side of the table, the buy side. You get to be the principal, the investor, using your firm's capital to buy companies, improve them, and sell them for a profit. It's the dream for many analysts, and recruiting for these roles is hyper-competitive, often starting just a few months into your analyst job. Another path is to a hedge fund, where you'll focus on public markets, analyzing stocks and other securities to generate returns for investors. Or maybe venture capital, if you're passionate about technology and finding the next unicorn. You could also move into corporate development at a Fortune 500 company, essentially acting as an in-house M&A team, or go to a top business school to pivot your career. The point is, the investment banking analyst stamp on your resume is a universally recognized signal of intelligence, grit, and analytical horsepower. It makes you a top candidate for almost any high finance or business role you can imagine. And yes, there's the money. Let's not pretend it isn't a factor. As a first-year analyst, your all-in compensation, including your bonus, will likely be multiple times what your college friends are making. It's life-altering money that can provide financial freedom and security at a very young age. But if you talk to anyone who has been through it, they'll tell you the money is just a byproduct. The real compensation is the training, the network, and the opportunities you earn. This entire journey, from that first finance club meeting as a freshman to cashing your first analyst bonus check, is a marathon of sacrifice, discipline, and ambition. It is not a path for everyone. It demands a level of commitment that borders on obsession. It will test your physical and mental limits in ways you cannot yet imagine. But if you have that fire inside you, if you're willing to put in the work, if you're genuinely fascinated by the markets and by the art of the deal, then there is no better launching pad for a career. This isn't just a job. It's an apprenticeship at the highest level of business. It's a crucible that will take your raw talent and ambition and forge it into something sharp, resilient, and incredibly capable. The person who walks out of that 2-year program is not the same one who walked in. They are a professional, armed with a skill set and a pedigree that will serve them for the rest of their lives, ready to take on any challenge the world throws at them. The path is grueling, but the destination, and the person you become along the way, is worth the price of admission.
Disclaimer: the information presented is for informational purposes only and is not professional financial, investment, or tax advice. All investments involve risk and may result in partial or total loss. You should always conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any financial decisions. By viewing this video, you agree not to hold the creator liable for any loss or damage arising from your use of the information provided.